Bad problem.
So everybody knows I'm a little deaf, you know, so if I don't understand what you say, repeat it loudly and forcefully, and I'll try hard.
Throw things out.
Or I'll get my translator to tell me. She talked real loud, so that's why I brought her.
So go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Oh
let's
my
do it.
God.
Shall I start the video?
You want to, let's do the video,
Yes, why don't I start the video?
since you.
Start the video.
Okay,
Let's
this
see
is the
video.
video we did.
Like to see the
actually,
video.
When, a year or so ago.
Vaporize it, yeah.
All of the effects in this thing are staged. We weren't actually doing
There's no
no sound.
Eh. Well, it's less dramatic without the sound, but
I think you have a piano player.
basically this just gives you an idea of how the system will work.
Or does work for the magic.
Yeah, the magic works this way now.
Wear mobile device with an app running on your wrist, or you can actually carry it anywhere you want. Wrist is a suggested location. It's really dramatic music here.
Now.
And these are the sensors.
Sensors.
These are our prototype sensors. They're gonna be way cooler when they're done.
Yeah, you won't be able to see them when you're done. A really cool post-apocalyptic site.
Yeah.
The 840. And still is cast. And he apparently gets manic.
Cast a caffeine spell on them.
Yeah, caffeine stuff. Okay, what I have here to show you today is, and I wish I had a nice graphic up here. This is running an app that shows your health, how much magic power you have, mana. There are 6 different spells that you can choose from. There are button 1, 2, 3 that correspond with the buttons on the wand. You can drag any of those 6 spells down to that button. You can set a power scale on the bottom. Each spell does a different thing. A shield stops you from being affected by any incoming spell. A destroy causes you damage. There's one called a curse that causes you to get your health and mana restored at half the rate normal. You do get your health back, your mana back, like 1 point every 20 seconds or something. I forget what the number is. Anyhow, there's a slow spell that's regulated by the accelerometer on the phone. Freeze spell, which is a much tighter restriction on your movement. And we will, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, these are the prototypes. We have a new set of hardware that I have actually with me that did not get ready for this convention like I hoped it would. So if this fails and proves that it doesn't work, that's not good proof at all, trust me.
We've been bringing this stuff to cons for ages now. It usually works just fine, but it's been banged
Sometimes
around.
it just flukes out.
And it was our
Okay, hold it up,
prototype stuff.
hold it up. So
No,
that-
then you're gonna shoot me.
Yes, that's the point. Okay, hold it up, there you go.
Hang on, let me turn around. Okay, there you go.
Oh, quit doing that. I'm not gonna shoot you with a laser in the eyes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Destroy two. Destroy two.
Okay, her health has gone down by 4 points every time I hit her.
Destroy two. Destroy two.
Oh, and, oh my God, quit.
Just die.
If anybody likes to try this, to shoot her. I'm
Hey,
willing
no,
to-
no, no. You guys can shoot each other.
Yeah, who wants to shoot? Come on,
Come on.
come on.
No?
Do it. Do it.
Okay,
All right.
you gotta carry this so that the other guy can hit.
So the cool thing about this is that you can program the
that
app
shield,
for whatever you
the
want,
bottom button is
for
destroyed,
spells
the
for your
middle one is
game.
shield, and now it's
Customized.
a curve.
Yes,
I'm
it's gonna be
take this out,
a part of
and,
it called
you have a
command and
heel
control
on that top.
that you can
Okay.
do
Heel is
a
on
bunch of
here.
different things from,
So
Okay.
if
including
you
keep tracking
damage,
of players,
That top button and you'll be
um,
healed.
things like that.
So if you're at 0 hit points, do
Yes.
you stop
Annie.
doing damage to him?
Ah, good job.
I do. I probably lie on the ground and bleed.
Annie, give
Yeah.
that to him.
Give it to him.
Yes.
Absolutely. There you go,
When
sir.
he won't volunteer, I will volunteer him.
She giving me the sensor?
Yep. The sensors, the
Okay,
wand.
the red light comes on when
You
you
see,
punch the
if
button.
you
down.
put that
It's
down, you have a free
location
hand for the
finder.
wand.
Okay.
Destroy two. Destroy two.
Alright.
It's taking damage.
So,
Destroy two.
Yeah.
gotcha. So I have 3 different buttons here.
Yes.
Destroy two.
Is it-
These are different spells?
Yes, so,
The shield stops any damage from coming in, any spell from coming in
Shield.
for
So-
some period of time.
so
Three two.
up here you have the list of spells that you can use, right?
Mhm.
And then you drag them down to your button.
You assign them.
Right, you assign them. So,
Destroy two.
the destroy spell is on your first button.
So if I've got 2 depressed, I'm shielded from him?
You're casting a shield on yourself. You press it down and you let it go. That's a screen.
Shield and heal are
Now
on.
go ahead and hit him with something.
Destroy screen from destroy.
Very nice. So now if I
And
No
then
want to,
effect.
now if I want to heal myself,
Yes.
what do I've got that's on C, yeah? With the third button or no?
Third button, I think.
What's the fire?
That's, I think the button.
I'll show you this. Our new sensors, and this is for the sake of keeping the price on this down, and I'll tell you about that all you want. As soon as they- Okay, this is
Destroy
the prototype of the new sensor. There's one primary sensor that supports the other 3. The nice thing about that is all of these 3 are very cheap. And this thing actually handles all the transmission of data and all of that for those guys, and is the only one that's powered. We are gonna have just a much lighter weight wire, so that it's not a pain in the ass like this. But to give you some idea of cost, one of these, the boards that go in the wands, will retail for about $65 to $70 if you wanted to do it yourself. You would then have to, of course, buy a wand or build your own or whatever.
Print it.
The master sensor is also about $60, but these guys are only about 10 or 12. So we can probably get the average for the set of 4 down to a little over $20 a sensor. The nice thing is, once you bought all the sensors, they're good for all weapons. When we have the swords working, they'll pick that up. When we have guns working, they'll pick that up. It's all integrated technology, and we all have the same ability to design the damage and effects on the swords as we do with the wands. We can write quite a long description, in fact, because it doesn't look for that information on the information packet coming in. It looks to database that the app is gonna carry in it, that's updated regularly through a Wi-Fi connection with the command and control computer that's running the whole game. Everybody will be checked into that, and they'll be able to track everybody and their health, and they'll be able to fix problems, like if you took damage from an effect that you shouldn't have, they can add that back in for you from that point. We can also track everybody's location. We can talk to anybody in the game or everybody in the game.
How are you tracking people's
Say it again.
location? How are you tracking people's location?
GPS on their phone.
GPS?
I mean, it'll be like within 30 feet
Right.
in many cases, but it's good enough to tell us where they are on the site. We
Is
can tell us
this
when it's going
Bluetooth
out.
between the wand and the phone? Is that Bluetooth, or what do you?
Yeah, the wand has a Bluetooth module on the end of it that talks to the phone. But all the rest of the communication is RF and infrared. Sword, I actually like this a lot. If I hit you with a sword, you get an infrared flash, information flash. The biggest problem that we had, we didn't want to use that, was if I hit him and you were standing behind him, you'd get hit with that too.
That's a cleave.
Yeah,
A cleave.
Well,
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
I told the design team, I said, so what? You know, mighty warrior. No, we actually solved that problem. There's a technology that they use to tell when to flush a toilet that tells you exactly how far somebody is from an infrared signal. We can design that response out to the end of the well. So if you're further away than the blade is long, you won't take the effect. And that was our latest revelation that allowed the prototype to work.
Clearly our development is in the toilet.
God love refreshment. That's my chief. I'm not a technician either. I'm just somebody who's kind of generally a bully. He makes other people do the work. And I shouldn't say that. I actually pay all of these people to do this. We've been working on this for 6 or 7 years. We have 2 patents already. And we're going to make this happen. So that's what I'm doing.
Very cool.
Cool.
Quiz, you want to go next?
Well, I was wondering if it maybe makes sense if
You wanna do
people
questions?
have more questions before I
Sure.
do something, because I would forget my question for that one.
That's fair.
Are you looking at kind of marketing this as an individual purchase or more as like a team game kind of purchase?
What did he
He
say?
wants to know if you're gonna be marketing them individually or like for, the answer to that is both.
Okay.
We're looking to,
We're going to actually put out the magic system as its own game. We're going to call it Spell Slingers. And it'll come with basically this basic app, and it's designed for just playing around the house or whatever. We are going to be developing big, full game apps. The first one that's in production is a game, good old medieval fantasy type game. We chose that as the first one just because it's the hardest one to do in terms of all the effects and swords and spells and everything. It's Tales of the Wanderer. And we've hired a head writer to be working on that, and now we expect that to be ready to go out in about a year. And it's a full, team or individuals. I mean, everybody will be checked in. They can identify by teams, and there will be benefits for members of your team from things that you can do. I mean, there's so much stuff we can do. You will gain skills by actually using the skill. We can track the number of times that you actually use that skill. And you'll get higher and higher skill levels. If you don't use it, we're going to let that skill degrade.
Ford, why don't you tell them about how it's going to work with the games that they already have now? Like, how do they integrate it into their games?
Well, we can write an app for, I hesitate to say any game, but there's a lot of games that we can write apps for. In fact, what we're gonna do is make this open source, so that you have access to our library and routines, and we can get you support for developing your own app. Obviously, it's in my advantage to get you more games going out there, so I'm very much in favor of doing that. I'm doing everything I can to keep the cost of all this down without compromising quality. This has been an expensive thing to develop. I need for this to not cost me more money, but I don't need to make a lot of money doing this. I'm mostly interested in making sure that this technology gets out there. And I really think that this is going to be something that most lifers are going to really want once they see it working. We have a lot of rocky road between now and actually having it working. You've just heard me apologize for if this doesn't work.
It worked.
Yes,
It worked.
I understand that.
Do we have any other questions?
I'm sorry, I do go on. My handler.
Are there any questions?
My assistant.
Are y'all planning to do any integration in the costuming with the receiving sensors? Or
The sensors, you'll wear a sensor. The sensor will have, be in a little plastic case with a button over the top. You put a buttonhole in your costume, and that sensor goes through that buttonhole. It'll look like a button or a stud or.
okay, so it's like an add-on package for existing
Yeah,
costumes.
it's a modification that you can add to a costume that you already have. Got to keep in mind that the outer layer of clothing that you have on has to be equipped with sensors. So if you put on a cloak, it's got to be equipped too. You can do all of the sensors with just the master sensors, and they don't need to be connected to anything else. But, you know, the secondary sensors are there to bring down the cost per sensor.
Yes.
Oh, I do get to show once. We're gonna probably ship this in, this is what we call a basic one. This is just as basic a thing as we can make that'll hold the electronics with 3 buttons over the top. And you try not to cross-thread it as you screw it back together. And you can put any barrel on it that you want. This is a purpose-made Elder Wand that's got all the electronics in it. And I say purpose-made as we made it just as the Elder Wand. And
How did you make that?
Hmm?
How did you make that?
3D print. And
Oh, yeah.
all the files for these are going to be available for free. If you want to print out your own and modify them or whatever you want. That's, if you wanted to, if you had one that you wanted to turn into an Elder Wand, you could use this, which is basically a cover for a basic one. And this is my, what I call my dwarf wand, because it's made all of metal, you see. Again, just a basic one. So, I think that covered it.
Yes, I think it does. Anything else? Cool.
I don't know, he looks like he has questions.
No, I'm appreciative of what you did on there. That's amazing.
Everyone's in awe.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, aww.